A very thoughtful and generous friend of mine recently bought me a gift, and my first response upon seeing it was, "Oh, you really shouldn't have." This is the Porsche Computer Mouse. It's an official branded Porsche product. Why did I say you shouldn't have? Well, for a couple of reasons. First of all, I didn't actually expect my friend to give me a gift like this. He said it was a thank you for doing him a favor, and I certainly appreciate his generosity, but it was a favor that I didn't mind doing at all, and certainly didn't expect anything from him in return. But second of all, I knew right away that as a Porsche branded product, this must have been an expensive purchase. More on that later. And third of all, I vaguely remembered that I had seen a video on this product on YouTube maybe a year or two ago, and the review was not great. But I intentionally did not go back and watch any other reviews on this mouse, so I could form my own impressions and get a fresh take on this product with as little bias as possible. So let's get into it. As a Porsche designed product, I would expect 4 things of this mouse. It should be stylish and designed well. It should be easy to set up and use. It should function as expected. Also, not a requirement, but I certainly would expect it to be expensive. I think just one look at this mouse tells you what you need to know. This baby is sleek and stylish, especially in the gloss black. It looks like the Porsche 911 sports car, a gorgeous automotive icon for the past 60 years. And it has a rear taillight bar that lights up red, just like the current Gen 911. It just looks so cool sitting there on your desktop. Doesn't every automotive enthusiast want a cool-looking car-shaped mouse they can admire and hold all day long? But when I say it should be designed well, that means it should be ergonomic too. It should fit well in your hand and be comfortable to hold and to use for the daily tasks of working on your computer. And that is where I think the Porsche Mouse stumbles a little bit. At first glance, you'd think the sleek, aerodynamic shape of a 911 should be great as a mouse, but it turns out it's not quite ideal. The fact that the roof curves down and then changes angles at the hood, where the mouse buttons are, actually makes it a little awkward to hold and to press the buttons. The fact that the front fenders are rather pronounced is kind of a core Porsche design feature, so of course they have that feature on this mouse, but as a result, the surface and shape of the left and right mouse buttons is a little unusual in that they poke up at your finger instead of being a flat button surface like most mice. How many buttons do you use on a daily basis that are formed in a 3D curved and creased form rather than a mostly flat surface? Not many, I'd guess. Maybe there's a certain tactile sensation that some people might enjoy. Do you like running your finger over a creased edge or corner of an object? This is for you. The other thing that is a little bit awkward is the placement of the scroll wheel. I feel like it's placed a little too far forward. Just a little bit, maybe by half a centimeter. The roofline of the car shape is a natural curve where your hand wants to hold or rest on the mouse. But then, like I said, the angle changes at the hood, and where your fingertips naturally want to rest on the buttons, the scroll wheel is just out of reach, and you can't get enough leverage on it without picking up your hand and moving your fingers forward a little bit. Maybe the scroll wheel is a little bit too small. I compared it against 2 other Logitech mice I use, and they both have noticeably larger scroll wheels. I think that these design choices may have been intentional, to favor style over comfort and mimic the shape of the most recent 991 and 992 generation 911s. I kind of have to wonder if they had made a mouse in the more classic shape of the 930 or 964 generation 911, with a taller roof and shorter front hood area, would the mouse be more comfortable and ergonomic to use? How about the 356 coupe? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. For design, I give it 7 out of 10 points. The Porsche Mouse is pretty straightforward to take out of the box, plug it in, and start using. It's a pretty basic wireless mouse, so it only has two mouse buttons, left and right, and the scroll wheel, which also acts as a third button when you press it down. As a result, there isn't really any setup involved. No software or drivers to download and install, nothing to configure. You just open up the bottom of the mouse, where you'll find the wireless USB receiver stowed, and you insert the two AA batteries that are provided with the mouse. Turn the mouse on with the switch underneath it, plug in the receiver to a USB port on your computer, and you're ready to go in just seconds. Pretty standard stuff for any wireless mouse. By the way, if you were expecting this to be some sort of precision German-made equipment, you'll be severely disappointed. According to the box and the mouse itself, it's made in China. Setup gets 8 out of 10 points. As I said, it's a pretty basic mouse. Don't expect a bunch of buttons and customizable functions on this mouse. It doesn't even have some of the functions that you might expect of a typical computer mouse, like an extra button for going back or forward in your browser, and it doesn't have a mode toggle for the scroll wheel like some of my other mice have. How do the buttons feel and sound? It feels just okay. It certainly doesn't have a premium feel or sound that you might expect for a Porsche product. It feels like a cheap mouse. The button's click sound is a little deeper than I expected. It's more of a thunk than a click. That is up to personal preference. I guess the glossy plastic exterior looks nice, but I wonder how it will hold up over time if you are using it daily. Will it start to dull and wear through the gloss? In terms of mouse movement and tracking, it's fine, it works. It's maybe a tad bit more sensitive than the Logitech mouse I unplugged and replaced with this. That's fine, you can adjust the sensitivity in the settings or control panel if it's too quick for you. For me, it's good. I can move my cursor all the way across my screen with minimal movement, so you don't need a giant mouse pad or desk area to move across. For what it's worth, the mice I have the most experience with are ones made by Logitech and Microsoft. And I have to say that in terms of usability and functionality, this feels like a step down from those products. It's kind of a no-frills experience, which can be a disappointment if you're used to having a mouse that has more features. It's probably less like the typical PC mouse, and more like the kind of minimalist experience you'd get from an Apple mouse. Do any of you remember back when Apple mice only had one button? At least this one does have two. By the way, I did use this Porsche mouse on both the PC and Mac, and it worked equally well on both platforms. I give this a 6 out of 10 on functionality. I'm sure you're wondering by now, how much Porsche charges for this mouse? I just checked on the Porsche website, and this is a $120 mouse. By comparison, a run-of-the-mill wireless mouse from Logitech would cost about $30. A Microsoft mouse will run you about $40 or $50. Now, certainly there are more expensive mice out on the market. I've seen some precision gaming mice can cost around the same $120 or even more. A Logitech G502 wireless gaming mouse is $150. So, no big deal, right? Well, I feel like you have to also consider what you're getting for the price. A $150 mouse feels steep, but remember, I described it as a precision gaming mouse. Such a mouse will have a bunch of features that a basic mouse will not, such as having more buttons, customizable or programmable functions, dedicated software or drivers, higher precision mechanicals, maybe even color-changing LEDs. This Porsche mouse, well, it's made of glossy plastic. It's got two buttons, a scroll wheel, and the taillights light up red. That's about it. There's no cool textures, no leather, aluminum, or suede materials, no deviated stitching to resemble the interior of a Porsche, no premium feel at all. There are no performance specs provided, no DPI numbers or descriptions about the mechanical or optical components used. Very un-Porsche-like. Aside from the style and the brand name, there's really not much here to justify paying $120 for a mouse like this. The only positive feature is that it looks cool. It's clearly a cash grab for Porsche design or Porsche lifestyle, and I just don't think it's worth spending your money on something like this. If they had it on sale and it was only $30, I might consider it. If you work at a Porsche dealership as a sales guy or as a service advisor, then maybe it's a must-have. If you have a friend who loves all things Porsche, then maybe this is a fun gift for them. And based on how much you'd have to cough up for one of these, it shows that you're a truly generous guy. If you buy one for yourself at full price, you're kind of a fool. Value? 2 out of 10. So, I don't know. Is buying a Porsche Mouse kind of a microcosm of the Porsche buying and ownership experience? Being charged up the wazoo for something that clearly is riding on the brand name and style. Perhaps it makes you feel exclusive and privileged to have one of these because so few will take the leap of faith or blind trust that it would take to pay so much for so little. Let me know your thoughts about this and Porsche branded merchandise in general. Is this how the game is played? Is buying a Porsche branded hat or t-shirt or jacket the better move if you want to show your enthusiasm for the brand? Are we all just stands for our respective favorite brands anyways? So we're all suckers falling for society's consumerist traps? What's your favorite brand for computer mice? Leave me a like and a comment. I want to hear what kind of hardware you're rocking on your PC or Mac. Now, you're probably thinking, geez, this Porsche Mouse kind of sounds like a terrible product. And now that this review is over, it's time to put this thing back in the box and go back to using my previous mouse. And that would be the reasonable thing to do, since that mouse was so much better in almost every way. Except that this Porsche Mouse was a gift to me from my dear friend Andrew, who passed away unexpectedly just a few weeks after he gave me this gift. And so now, this mouse remains on my desk, and I continue to use it every day. It's a reminder of his kindness, generosity, and friendship, and that, I think, overrides any discomfort or shortcomings that this particular mouse has. It's my little way of remembering him for as long as I can. Thanks for watching.